This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you are looking to expand your business in high potential new markets, but are not completely sure about local rules, taxes, and product compliance, and you're searching for guidance to help you kickstart your expansion, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us everything you'll need to know to set up your business for success in the Amazon European marketplace. Today, I'm joined by Anton Hermann, who in 2019, after his own fair share of experience in the Amazon business, co-founded a SaaS startup company called SPACEGOATS, a platform that simplifies global expansion for your e-commerce business. As the CMO of the company, he's currently overseeing the marketing and sales department. Hey, Anton, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love your intro. It was nice, and I guess everybody knows what will be coming in the next minutes. Thank you very much.
For sure. So, the topic, as we mentioned, is going to be compliance, expanding to Europe. And the key word here is going to be pan-EU. It's a word that maybe some people are familiar, but to break the ice, let's start with that. Like, what do we mean by pan-EU, and why should sellers consider setting it up?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. It gets confused many times. People say in slang words they're using pan-EU, and sometimes they are not. So I just explain one step first how the system looks like in general, what is pan-EU, what is EFN, like European Fulfillment Network, and what is multi-country inventory, because that are three different things you can sell on Amazon Europe in different marketplaces. But the best option, if it's possible, is pan-EU. But let's start with the first one. European Fulfillment Network. It means you are, for example, a seller in Germany and you want to sell to other countries, but without storing your products in the other countries or in the other marketplace countries. For example, you store your stuff in Germany, FBA, and you sell to the end customer in France. Then Amazon fulfills the product from Germany to France. You have higher shipping costs, longer shipping times, and so on and so forth. It's the easiest way. You just need a one-stop shop solution. That's some new law from the European Union, where you can basically combine the tax obligations in one bill and pay to the German office, and they will distribute the money through the other countries. That is the worst option, because you have, as I said, higher shipping costs, higher shipping time. And the second option is multi-country inventory. Multi-country inventory means you are registered in the different marketplace countries tax-wise for VAT, and you send to each country your inventory on a different SKU. Means you have one inventory for Italy, one inventory for Spain, one inventory for Germany, and so on and so forth. The big advantage is that you can serve different inventories into different marketplaces. So, for example, you don't need to translate your packaging in all the 8 languages if you serve each marketplace specifically. But you have to register yourself for the VAT numbers in the countries you are storing the products. First, I would say this is our first thing. And the second thing is you have to manage different stocks. That's also some administrative effort. And now the holy grail is the pan-European program. It's basically you combine the best of all the worlds. You have one SKU like you would have from the EFN, so you store from one in Germany and you send it to other countries. You have one SKU, but you're storing in all over Europe, and it's basically for free what Amazon does for you. So a pan-European program means in every single country, marketplace country, you have the same SKU and the same inventory. So if someone buys a product from the Spanish marketplace, the inventory will be lower for all the other marketplaces as well. So that's a huge advantage, but you need to register yourself tax-wise there as well in each country you want to store your products in. Strongly recommended because you have to manage only one stock. You cannot imagine what kind of administration benefit it is to manage only one stock, and you're selling in 8 countries or even more. But as I said, first thing is you need to register with TechWest, and second thing is not every product is allowed to be stored pan-European wide. For example, hazard goods are not allowed to be stored. There are some grocery things which you cannot use pan-European program for. But if you have the option to do so, please go for pan-European program.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So just to summarize, you said there are like three different ways we can sell in Europe. You said the European fulfillment network, the multi-country inventory, and the pan-European, right? So that's very interesting. I was aware only of two of them, so that's good to know already. And so when we sell in Europe, there is an added layer of complexity because Europe, it's famous of having fun, of creating new rules every now and then, every month, basically, right? So especially for sellers who come from the US and want to get into Europe, they're going to start learning a lot of things about compliance and local rules. So we're going to focus on that from now. So just give us briefly, like before we dive deep into each area, what are the main areas, the main elements that we should be aware of in terms of compliance when we want to start selling in Europe?
Yes, as we are talking about compliance in general, I would distinguish between two areas of compliance. The first one is VAT and tax compliance, and the second one is product compliance. And one super important background information behind the importance of this thing. As you said, the European Union is very creative in coming up with new rules and laws and stuff like that. And that's what they did in the last years. They came up with the so-called Digital Markets Act. Super official name, but what it actually means is, if you are a marketplace from a specific size, like Amazon is always in the highest tier regarding the thing, the marketplace is responsible to make sure that VAT compliance is fulfilled and product compliance is fulfilled. But the rule is implemented in a salami tactics. So maybe you're already selling in Germany. You heard about the 22F formula, what you had to send to Amazon, otherwise they would just block your account. That was for VAT purpose. So you maybe have noticed that many Chinese competitors suddenly raise their prices by 10 to 20%. And the reason for it is that Amazon needs to make sure that they are paying their VAT. And that's why for Chinese sellers, for example, Amazon is paying the VAT to the authorities. And that's why they cannot just sorry for my words, give a shit, but just get the full margin without paying any VAT. So that's like the first part. You need to be compliant with VAT, and Amazon is checking it. And the second part is product compliance, and that's where Amazon started this year to also dig deep into it and ask for certifications, and they have a new dashboard for your compliance documents and so on and so forth. But that are the two areas. And as VAT compliance, at least from my understanding, this is a very wide field. Everybody knows that you need VAT numbers here and there. I would today stick to the product compliance part, because this is super interesting and many things you might have never heard of. That at least that was for me when we started to make sure that all our customers are actually compliant in the European Union.
Okay, cool. Very cool. So I'm curious about that. I still would like to cover both, but let's actually just mention, the key things about VAT and tax compliance for those who don't know, and then we jump into product compliance. Like I would love to know all your tips and best practice. So just very quickly, let us know, like what do we need to know to set things up properly in terms of VAT and tax, and then we'll jump to product compliance.
Yeah, there are two ways of selling international products internationally in Europe. The first way is, as I said, EFN, like you're storing. That's not from a supply chain perspective, it's really from a tax perspective. You're storing in one marketplace country and sending from this country to all the other countries your inventory, with the disadvantages I mentioned before. And there you just need one VAT number. In the country you're storing the products, plus an application for the so-called one-stop shop, which I also mentioned before, so that you are sending stuff to France and that you're tracking everything, and then the local office of Germany will transfer the money to the France entity. So that's like the one option. The second option is that you actually store in different marketplace countries. That was pan-EU and multi-country inventory thing, and there you need in every country a VAT number where you actually store the products. This is also important if you're selling, for example, in Germany, just in Germany, without any international marketplaces. Amazon has warehouses in Czech Republic and in Poland as well. And to motivate, because the labor cost is there lower and blah, 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 to motivate you, they give you a discount on the FBA fees if you allow Amazon to store your products in Poland and Czech Republic as well. But therefore, you would need VAT numbers in both countries. So that would be like the first level of saving costs. But that was, I think, a general overview of what you need. And then start lean and then take a look how you proceed from the strategic perspective from here.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I think that's kind of the easy part of selling in Europe, right? Because VAT, I mean, now everybody knows that they need to open the VAT. And there are like a number of companies who do that for you as a service. Even Amazon itself, can help you doing that. Although I haven't heard like great things about their service, but who knows? Anyway, you guys basically needs to open a VAT number in any country in which you basically store goods, right?
Yes.
So that's essentially like the rule summarized. But then now I'm curious about all the tips and things you've learned in terms of product compliance, because maybe we think that it's gonna be like an easy quick win to start selling in new countries because we already have products maybe that are successful in the US, Canada, or North America and other countries, and then we would like to expand in Europe. So that's definitely a great opportunity. But then what do we need to know in terms of product compliance in order to start selling in Europe as well?
Yes, thank you for the question. First of all, a disclaimer: that's not a legal advice. I just give you tips where you should do your research and which things you need to learn. But just to give you a rough overview, I would say for non-European companies, the most important thing, and most people do not know this, is the so-called responsible person's address, or the European Union representative. What does this mean? On each product which is sold in the European Union, and by the way, in UK as well, you need on the product itself, if possible, or alternatively on the packaging of the product, some liable address for that product located in the European Union. It means, as an American entity, you are not even allowed, without any partners in Europe, to sell your products in the European Union, because you are not sitting in the European Union. And I guess many are not aware of it. And now some background tips. Why did I mention it so dramatically that it must be on the product? The thing is that I would say 90 to 95% of the sellers are putting it as standard on the packaging, but it's actually not allowed if you have enough space or the surface is fine to have the address on the product. And now comes the funny part. If a competitor proves that it's possible to put it on the product, you are not compliant anymore if you have it on the packaging. Super funny, but he can just bring it to court, or he can block your product, and it's super easy. They will just write an email to Amazon with their description here, this and that, and that's why they are not compliant. Please take them off, and Amazon will, as always, shoot first and then ask you was this correct. And what do I mean with this? You will lose revenue of days and weeks or even months if you're not doing it properly from the beginning on. So that's I would say that's the first area you should have a look on. The second area
Sorry, just to interrupt, I'm curious about
Sure.
this one because it's it's something probably many people don't know about. So you
Yes.
mentioned that it's only for non-EU companies, right? So then definitely like EU companies, they already are kind of the representative of themselves, right?
Yes.
But does this apply to every kind of products or
Yeah.
only some categories? Because I also learned about another rule, which might be only in Germany or in other countries, that only CE marked products need to have some sort of responsible person. Is that right, or is that another rule?
I'm 100% sure every product which is sold in the European Union needs a European Union address on the product or alternatively on the packaging. 100%. If you go to the supermarket, you will find on every single product this address, a new address in the European Union. And if it's a company from not Europe, for example, Coca-Cola or something like that, then you would always have a European distributor on the packaging, which is liable for the product. But there will always be an address in Europe on the product or on the packaging, 100%.
Got it. So non-European, what would be the solution you would recommend for non-European companies? Do they need to sign for that this is offered as a service or something?
The most complicated thing would be to open an entity in Europe. If you are considering this because it's worth it sometimes, then please go to Netherlands. You have some VAT advantages, so to speak, over there, but that would be like the most complicated. The second, what is not so complicated, but also not super nice, if you find a common distributor, which just distributes your products in his name in the European Union, but then it will be a classical B2B business, and they will import their products on their name, and they will have their own margin, the control about the brand and stuff like that. So that's the second option. And the third option is that you look for a European Union representative, which actually checks your products for compliance and allows you to use their address on the product or on the packaging. For different categories, there are different service providers. For example, you have service providers for supplements, specialized on supplements. You have service providers specialized on cosmetics. So find the proper partner for it. We could also offer you one of our partners because we actually have the similar issue in UK. So if you are a European Union company, you want to sell in UK, we would need this representative for all the products which are sold in UK from the UK. So we know the drill about that issue, and that's why we are working with partners in UK and for Europe for non-European customers as well.
So you're saying that if you would like to sell in Europe, like in the European Union and in the UK as well, you must have a representative that is based in the European Union for those countries and in the UK for the UK?
Yes, and you can have both on the packaging. That's possible, but you would need for each market your own representative. That's unfortunately the hard truth.
Wow. Okay. Crazy stuff. All right. Okay. Good to know.
And actually, that's the easiest thing. How the competitor can blame you. He orders a product from Amazon. He does not find any address. You can count the minutes as soon as you are blocked, and that's super hard to unblock it again. So please make sure that you are good upfront.
And would it be like Amazon itself that go like checking, or it must be triggered by a competitor or something?
I think from our experience, we had also that issue 1 or 2 times. I think it's not Amazon, it's the competitor. And in some niches, there are many competitors checking basically all the competitor product, especially supplement niche or something like that, where they want to get rid of the competitors. And there are actually, and I don't want to promote that services because I cannot stand behind it, like from a moral perspective, which are doing exactly this. You used to tell the guys, hey guys, please block all the competitors you're able to block, and they will order all the products, check every little detail on the packaging and so on and so forth. And then they have the direct connection to Amazon, and then they will block the product. And that's, I'm not kidding, the hard reality. I'm not kidding.
Wow. Wow, crazy. It's crazy, although I'm not surprised by it because this is kind of like everyday thing in Amazon. It happens also
Yes,
in the US, in other countries for other reasons.
yes.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's hard truth, but it's something we need to know in order to kind of protect ourselves and start selling properly. Respecting compliance
Hmm.
in Europe. Definitely
Yeah,
cool. Thanks for
definitely.
sharing that. All right. So then I'm curious about the second one. What was
This,
the one?
this, the second one is easier. It's also related to the Digital Markets Act. Um, it's the so-called extended product responsibility. What do I mean with this? If you're selling a product in the European Union is very ecologically focused, so to speak. Every product you sell produces basically trash. Okay, for example, packaging trash, plastic trash, whatever. You need to pay to get rid of this trash. So the seller actually needs to pay to remove the trash. Okay, that's why there are like business models around it. But that's, for example, in Germany, you have the Lucid register, where you have to apply for a packaging registration number, and Amazon wants it. So if you don't have this number, you cannot sell on Amazon at all, at least not in Germany, and in France also. And they are getting the other marketplace into the system as well. So you need to get this number, for example, packaging registration, and you need to find someone who's actually removing the trash. So basically, you track how much trash you produce, and once per year you forward this information to this provider, and then you pay. It's not expensive, so please don't panic. It's like, I don't know, 20 to 50 euro per year or something. It's not too much, but you need to do it, and to do so you need to have this number, and you need to upload this number to Amazon. Same for France, and that was only the packaging trash, but you have also electronic trash, like the WEEE. Okay, you need a registration number for the electronic trash you produce, and electronic products, they had a nice update on this rule, or on this law, that even passive electronic devices like USB sticks or even RFID blocker cards, because you have like a little electronic inside, even though it's just a magnet thing. You need to register your products in the local entities and provide the number to Amazon. Deadline for this is 1st of January 2023. Otherwise, you will be banned from Amazon if you're selling or at least for a time, if you're selling electronic products without that number. So the others are textile numbers, battery numbers. So there are like a couple of this extended product responsibilities, and you need to cover them globally. With globally, I mean not per product, but for your account. You will get many reminders by Amazon, so it's not like it's a surprise or something like that. But we heard about many people which were just not not mentioning it, or just didn't care and were blocked by such a stupid mistake. So please get your extended responsibility in place, because Amazon has to check it actually from a law perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you think this is all crazy, it is actually true. So unfortunately, this is what you will encounter when starting selling in Europe, and that's what I also experienced selling in Germany and the UK. So I think this all ties to. Sorry, what do you want to say about
One
Germany?
information
Yeah.
about all of this. The more complex or more complicated it is to paste a product on the Amazon marketplace, then and you are compliant, then bigger the opportunity, because not everybody can manage to be compliant. So don't see it as a risk or a problem, see it as a chance. Please see it as a chance. My example from before with the Chinese sellers which had to pay suddenly the VAT, it was good for all European Union sellers which always paid the VAT like in a proper way, and they are always compliant, and they're taking care of this and that and paying money. If you are compliant, you are in a better position than before. So please don't see it as a problem, see it as a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. I mean, it's a problem, therefore it can be an opportunity. So
Yes.
it is actually true that in Europe there is less competition than US. I think that's a fact. So there is even more opportunity to grow there if you're good and respect these compliance rules.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So I was saying that all these also fall into all these compliance issues are falling in the packaging, right? So the packaging, it's a very important part of our product, and there's
Yes.
lots of rules about packaging. Like, how do we make sure that we are compliant in terms of packaging?
That's now we are talking about product specific things. It depends really on the product what you need to have on the packaging. I just give you an example which is in general relevant for all the products. The destiny country is important here. So if you're selling products to France, in France, to Germany, in Germany, whatever, then you need to have the hazard warnings and all the important product information in the local languages. Sometimes it's also possible to put a paper layer into the packaging with all the different languages if they are not fitting on the packaging, but you need to have the important information in all the local languages. The second thing, also related to this point, is every product needs a product description. Basically, it can be one word, but you cannot sell, for example, a product from brand A and name all your products like the brand A. Okay, you cannot say it's brand A, brand A, brand A. You need to say it's brand A, product one. It's brand A, product B. That's what you need to specify what you are selling also on the packaging. I guess not everybody knows it. You cannot just send a box with an apple on it and that's it. You need to have it's an Apple keyboard or it's an Apple computer, this and this version. So like a version number or something like that. So that's relevant also for all the products. And then we are talking about product specific regulations which you need to meet. For example, if you are selling CE required products, CE is like a French label. It's certification for Europe, something like that, but in French language. But that's the meaning of it. And there are like 25 categories where CE applies basically. And now comes the funny part. Every product in this 25 categories needs to have the CE label on it. Every product outside of this outside of this categories is not allowed to have the CE label on it to avoid making marketing with stuff which is not allowed. Okay, so if you have a product which is not CE, which has no CE requirement, please don't put a CE logo over there for marketing purpose. We are CE blah blah, because then the European Union or the local entities here always have to go to protect the end consumer, because they are like the dumb guy in the end. He needs to be protected. And please don't get me wrong, but that's the framing of all these rules and laws. And you're not allowed to make marketing with obvious things. For example, you're not allowed to write on your packaging you have a guarantee on whatever. If the guarantee is there for legal purposes, you have to give this guarantee, then you are not allowed to promote this kind of things. And there are many other things depending on the different product categories. And for every product category, you have things which have to be on the product. And yeah, I think we cannot tackle all of them, but please talk to someone who actually knows the category. Order competitor products, whatever, check upfront what you're selling there and what needs to be on the packaging, because it's also super easy to find out if it's not compliant. You can also hit us up. We are offering it kind of as a service, just as compliance checks, plus just let us know and we can help you with this as well.
Okay, sure. That's great to know. So basically, guys, the answer there is that it depends on your product. So you need to do your own research, or as you said, you can ask help to Anton, and that's how you'll find out. And unfortunately, it's like a very complex matter. So that's how it works. But as we said, it could be also an opportunity if you know how to take advantage of it, right? All right, so we have time for just last question, and our final question before we end this call. And
One last thing to add, just to sum it up, then we have covered basically all the areas. The last thing is your product is 100% compliant. The packaging, everything is fine. Your registered area, ERP, EPR, whatever. The last thing you can fail is the copywriting on the website. So you can make wrong formulations, you can use wrong words, and then the Amazon algorithm will block your listing. And please make sure that the copywriting, not like health claims, that's like the most common mistake. You're not allowed to tell this product is healing my wounds if it's not proven with studies and blah, blah, blah. So the last part is copywriting, and it's, I would say, the easiest one, but please don't forget this one. That's all. Sorry, I just wanted to round it up.
No, that's great. That's great. That's good to know. Actually, Amazon, it kind of blocks you like immediately because there is an algorithm always, obviously, checking those words. So your product will be immediately basically banned or, inactive, will become inactive as soon as, they detect that word. Okay, good to know that you mentioned. Thanks for mentioning that. So I just wanted to know briefly, like just to kind of, not to scare off people, but just to make them aware of what will be the consequences of not being compliant. So what should we be aware of?
There are two main consequences. I would say the immediate consequence is that your product gets banned or blocked from the Amazon marketplace. It means you are making, for example, 1,000 to 5,000 euro revenues per day. And unfortunately, some algorithm, whatever, blocks your product for 2 weeks, then you lose that revenue. So that's like the first risk and the first consequence. The second thing is if a competitor is actually claiming against you. So it means, hey, you're not compliant with your product. I paid this amount of money to be compliant. You didn't. You have an unfair competitive advantage, and I want to be paid for whatever the court decides. I would say that are the two that are the two consequences you can wait for if your product is not compliant. And we had the stories, like both stories, like the first one more than the other, but that's the reality and not some dream or some nightmare thing.
Okay, cool. All right. I mean, that's definitely, so very important to take care of. Compliance, it's very important in Europe because apparently these regulators take it seriously, so it can end up badly if you don't follow these rules. So guys, let's make sure that we do follow them. And
last thing, because I said like Amazon or competitor, but in Germany, for example, there are also official entities which claim something against you. For example, the economic entity of Germany, whatever, will claim money if you're not registered for WEE, because you spoil the environment with your stuff, and then it will be really expensive. What I mean is you will have to give back all the profits you generated in the time when you sold the product because you had no number for it. That would be like the worst case scenario, I guess. But that are the three claimers, so to speak, for your problem. Sorry.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's even worse. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know again. All right. So we have the last question, kind of to summarize everything. What is your best advice to achieve more with less when it comes to expanding to the European marketplaces?
Thank you for that, man. I would keep this question a bit more general because it's not only for compliance. The most important thing, and it sounds stupid, but it's the proper planning. Really, proper planning. You will laugh now, but you need to know what margins you will have, what margins you can reach. You need to know what your advertising spend will be. You need to know how many sales you can actually estimate to not go out of stock. Okay, so you need to know what kind of certifications, what kind of VAT numbers you need to have upfront, other than America, where you can just start and do whatever you want, and if somebody claims something, then you have a problem. In Europe, you need to have everything upfront. So that's the thing. Proper planning, and have please everything upfront, and if you are good to go, then you will not have obstacles on the way. Because the biggest problem is that if you start something, you prepare your content, you blah blah blah, and then you want to sell in Europe and you sell 1 week and your product gets blocked for 2 months. It's better to make it properly upfront and go then on the market and be 100% sure I'm good, nothing can harm me, and from that on you can generate your revenue, launch new products, and so on and so forth. I would say that is the most important tip for Europe, especially not for USA, but for Europe.
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so I think we got a value-packed episode already. So thank you very much for sharing all this with us. And guys, remember that we have in every episode some complimentary material. So this time, Anton shared with us some slides about the Pan-European program that you can go download in our website at thesellerprocess.com. Find this episode in the show notes. You'll get the link, or in the description of the YouTube video, you will find a link to download this. These are the slides with lots of information about what we have discussed already today, and plus much more. So remember to download that. And I know that many people might be confused or might need help about this. So Anton, how can you help them in case they would like to reach out? How can they reach out to you, and what can you help them with?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. So what SPACEGOATS, or the company I'm working at or founded, is doing, we sell other companies' products all over Europe, plus UK, plus USA, through our infrastructure, basically through our Amazon account, and cover all the legal stuff around it. Like I said, EPR, we will cover the product compliance part. We can help you with the planning, like performance audits. We can give you a sales estimation, margin calculation, whatever else is needed. And from this package, you can modularly pick whatever you need. If you're good in marketing, for example, we will give you the opportunity to run your own ads. But you could also book it from us. If you are good in, I don't know, content creation, you can create your own content, your own translations. But if you say, hey, I let it to the experts, we can do it for you as well. So it's like a modular system where you can pick different services from, and also standalone services. As I said, we can do compliance checks of any kind, from easy compliance checks to advanced to full service. We can help you with the planning part. We can help you with the supply chain. Everything what you need to sell in Europe, we can basically cover it for you.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. That's great. You guys will find the contact details of Anton in the show notes. Thank you very much again, Anton, for sharing all this with us. I think we will have also the chance to speak more about Pan-EU and get more of your knowledge shared with our audience.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a great moderation. Everyone have a great start into the new year, and see and speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anton. So guys, remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. So go take home the insights that you learned from this episode, start take action, and grow your brand, scale your business to the next level. Thanks to this podcast episodes, you will see we release one every week on every Wednesday on all the popular podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and so on. So stay tuned, and I wish you a happy new year, although you might listen this after the new year. But anyway, we're recording it just before the new year. So have a productive week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes, and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.